to help us in what in the heck? I didn't even click that and it went on its own. That was wild. All right, well, it's going. Now
Not yet.
I'm going to mute everybody. My computer's freaking out. I got to admit some people here too. I'm going to go ahead and make Mimi a co-host here. If you could admit people, Mimi, that would be awesome. Let me kill that. Mimi, you have been volunteered. I hope you're okay with that, admitting people. You are such a great help. And I made you a co-host. All right. If you guys want to join us in an effort to share the shred, we want to share the shred with as many people as we possibly can because of the kind of results that you're going to hear tonight. We want to reach as many people as we possibly can. We want to help as many people as we possibly can. We embrace that. That's our intent. Our intent is to help everybody. Because why? Because we have something that is just that good. We have something that's just that useful and beneficial and precious. We want to share it with more people. So if you want to join us in that effort, you can go to my wall on Facebook and share this on your story, your wall, get it out there so that we can reach even more people. I'm going to go ahead here and just cover a few notes as we get started. My name is Sean Escobar. Welcome to the ER Shred Come Alive call. We're grateful to have you guys. We've been doing these calls for, I think, every week for, gosh, I bet it's been 16, 17 months now. And I posted a disclaimer in the Facebook post. I will go ahead and put a disclaimer in the chat as well that we do not attempt or claim to cure, treat, prevent any kinds of diseases. We always encourage you to seek the counsel of your medical professionals. How do I get it off of? There we go. Everyone in the meeting. I'll post that to the chat. There it is. There we go. That didn't work. Awesome. All right, you guys. So real quick, before we have some shredders share their results and how they're doing, I too wanted to say, because Crystal did the call last week, I was coaching a soccer game. No, Heather did the call, excuse me. But Crystal did the call on the Tuesday, and she said, congratulations to our partner company, Isagenix, on their 20-year anniversary. I also want to say congratulations to all of us who are associated with Isagenix and celebrate our 20-year anniversary. It's not a little deal. It's actually a very, very big deal. And I just want to say that I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm grateful that, that my parents shared it with me. They often say, Lenny will want to use this in his Shredder's Way training. They often say, like, how do you feel about the person who introduced you to this, right? They often say that. And I just want to say to my mom and dad, who I love so much, thank you for sharing the gift of Isagenix with me 20 years ago. And that has been the most unbelievable gift that you could have given me. And I just want to say thank you to all those involved at a corporate level who keep things running and who, do such a great job. And thank you to my team. Thank you to my team, because that's legit. I love what we do, you guys, because what we do is so cool. Because anything you do, make it so that it's an investment. Anything that you do, make it like you can do anything to make money, right? But anything you do, I just challenge you and encourage you, make it about investing in your future. Make it worthwhile. Like these relationships we have here, I see so many people on this call, like Mimi, like Lenny, like Kathy, like Jessica. There's Casey. Guys, you mean a lot to me. Jesse is like my brother. And this is because I chose to do something that is worth investing in. I chose to be involved in a worthy cause that's worth investing in, rather than just trading my time or my energy or what have you for money. I'm doing something meaningful that makes a difference. That is where it's at. That's the magic. Wanted to thank Heather Sika Leonard. Again, she showed up last night. Chief Shreducator Heather Sika Leonard showed up with Megan McIsaac on the call last night, Shred Your Body, offering us more and more meaty content. No pun intended. Thank you so much for that. Tomorrow night is the ongoing Shredder's Way tribal training course with Lenny Evans, where Lenny's going to teach our United Shredders how to share the shred and how to complement their livelihood. Should you come on board with that right now and you want to catch up, you've got to go to shreddersunite.com and there just request to join that group. And there's a form in there where you can request to receive the emails so you can catch up on the course itself and catch up, and then you can be current and live with everybody else. Lenny is just killing it, slaying it, right? And I just want to thank you for that, Lenny. Lenny, do you want to say anything at all about your course and how that's going, so that maybe, people can know a little bit more about it if they want to get involved in that?
Sure. Thank you. Part of the course is being taught by you right now, taking notes. And the stories on this call are what it's all about. The whole course follows the examples and the liveness of everybody here. Just like Jesse and Sean say that the ancestral way was to hunt and gather, well, hunting and gathering in modern times is learning how to share and ignite other people. And that's what we're doing in the Shredder's Way. It's exciting. So Sean, that's it for now. I just want to hear, people about what happened, because that's what this is all about. It's what happens to the individual person that comes alive. So
thank you, Lenny. Thank you. And I just want to, again, tell everybody that I've never seen a course like this. I've never seen it. He's really turned things upside down. He's in a genius flow is the way that I would say. He's in a genius flow. And it's really a marvel to behold. It is something else to watch someone in their genius. Thank you for showing up, Lenny Evans. All right, I'm going to introduce some shredders to you. This is my intro for ER Shred. I'm still working on it, guys. We're gonna fine tune this thing. This one says the ER Shred is a multi-pronged approach to wellness. The protocol itself combines ancient wisdom around eating with proven 21st century science. Our nutritional dietary lifestyle empowerment protocol is just that, pure empowerment. By fully satiating the body's needs, we are able to take back control of the diet, which is the common denominator of overall well-being. Our ER Shred tribe of like-minded shredders is result-driven. Our intent is pure, and we are on a mission to give people back what was lost. You deserve to feel your best every single day. Your health is your most valuable asset that you possess. All right. Your health is your most valuable asset that you possess. Is that not true? That is true. All right, you guys, our first share of the night. And we did have a cancellation, but that's okay. And if we end early, that's okay too. But our first cancellation, our first testimonial of the night, hold tight. Got to get to the date. You guys should see how much good stuff I have written right here. Let's go with Kathy Peters. Are you out there, Kathy?
I am.
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii.
Yeah.
Fresh
oh, look.
from Iowa.
Where's I had my special glasses I was going to put on just, you know what? When I got to tell you something. Oh, I have them. Hold on. Now check me out. Look at this.
Oh, that's good. I know those.
You guys, what's great is Kathy actually sent these to us. She sent us these glasses with a care package, and it was just a thank you for the care package. That was the most kind, generous thing ever. And I love my new glasses. I'm not going to keep them on the whole time, but I was like saving them just so that I could make sure to wear them. That is so fun. Kathy, where are you calling in from?
Hawaii, Hawaii.
Okay, very cool.
Mhm.
And just so that people, kind of know your story a little bit better, I want to tell everybody you are a heart of ER Shred. You are very important to us. You're just unbelievably awesome. I know you were an ISA body finalist, and so was your husband, Randy.
Right.
Right. And so just by way of introduction, just letting everybody know that. And who was it that originally shared ER Shred with you?
Melissa Barkel and then Lane and Shirley McNeil.
Yeah,
Yep.
love those people. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Joyful people.
I love those. I love those people you just mentioned so much. I feel like I know them very well. That's the weird thing, is when you feel like, when you connect with your tribe, like when you feel like you've known them for your whole life and you really haven't even met in person yet. It's going to be pretty special, Kathy. I thought about that, you and me and Crystal, Randy, we sit down and talk like in
Mhm.
person. Oh man.
Yeah. And Shirley and Lane are coming here the end of April. And of course, when Melissa was here, we hooked up, which is where this whole thing began, with that picture we took that mortified my soul.
Well, speak to it. How long ago was that?
October. She was here the end of August, and then I got all involved, actually maybe September, and I got involved with ER Shred October 11th, after I went in and read every guide and really educated myself on what I had on hand, what could I do with it, because I was a dairy-free girl, because I couldn't digest the shakes very well until I learned about the incubation. So
Okay.
they walked me through it, how to get started with what I had, and then my order came. So
Wow. So shout out to Chief Shreducator, who is responsible for those guides, Heather Sika Leonard. I always want to give that shout out whenever anyone mentions the guides. Shout out to Peter Greenlaw for introducing us to incubation. You can do the shakes now, is that right?
I can do all of the shakes, well, the ones that need incubated. Absolutely. Biggest difference in the universe.
Wow, that's so cool.
So
So cool.
So before that, so now this just,
wasn't there some significance about the date of you sharing tonight? What was that significant?
oh yeah, there is. I turned 60 on Sunday, and my goal was around my 60th birthday. And I posted this morning about what my goal was in the ER Shred Facebook group. And I got sidelined halfway through, well, maybe in January, that maybe my goal was too lofty for me, because my gold jeans that I had picked out were what I wore when I was an ISA body finalist, when I was at my leanest on stage. And that was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So I had to really rethink that. And I kept getting disappointed every time I tried to pull those up over my butt, and they just stopped. So I changed it to the next size, and I posted all the sizes and all of my progress during the whole shred. But I just had to, I wanted to really relate that sometimes the goal that you set for yourself at first isn't the goal you end up with. And as long as you're moving forward, you're still moving, and you can change your goal. And my goal now is just to tone up, because I have been not as active as I could be. And I think that's going to make a big difference in my muscle tone. And I'm going to give those little tiny jeans to Shirley, because she's little and tiny when they come here, but don't tell her.
Listen,
look good to them. This
is some very good stuff. This is really good stuff. I have to tell you, we got to talk about this for a minute. I visited with a woman just recently, and maybe you can be the teacher in the moment around this, because it speaks to what you're talking about. But I visited with a woman very dear to us, and she did say something of significance, something that I sensed. I sensed this, and I didn't, but as a man, maybe I couldn't put my finger on it. I sensed it. I sensed something's off. And, but she basically opened up and was very vulnerable and confided that she loves ER Shred, that it worked so well for her in the beginning, so well. And she basically confided that, you know, she just doesn't feel, it's almost like she said she didn't feel qualified because she hadn't kept up those results. And you know, it was a worthiness thing for sure. Worthiness. What would you say to that?
Well, I'm the queen of that because being an Isobody finalist meant a lot to me in the beginning of Isagenix in 2013 when I started. And I kept up with it for a long time, and then I fell off. And when I saw that picture with Melissa, I thought, oh my God, I can't possibly represent good health when I'm not healthy myself. So I feel her. That was very important to me. And I snapped myself back into the process of finding myself. And I gave myself the grace to just jump back on board. And, you know, I really didn't want anybody to know that I messed up my Isobody finalist body, but I did. I just did. And I was probably struggling for maybe 8 months with just like, uh-oh, I feel puffy. Uh-oh, I don't feel good. I couldn't wear clothes and feel good in them. I was wearing the long things again and covering myself up. And I know how to do that so well, nobody noticed. I'm not a fashionista, but I know what covers stuff up. And now I was looking for, funny enough, looking for a t-shirt to wear this morning for my picture. And Randy was taking my pictures and he's like, those are all too long. You don't have the right shirt on. So he's going, you're pulling out all these crop shirts. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for that. But I only had one shirt that didn't go all, you know, full on over me. And I thought, wow, I really have to go through my closet. And that was joyful for me to figure out. So
I love that.
I totally hear her. Yeah. It's
You
embarrassing.
hear her and your advice. What is your advice on that?
When you're ready, you'll know it. And when you're ready, jump back in full bore and do a shred and do it right and have your mindset and be active and just commit to the 11 days. Like you said, give us 11 days in your live video. Give us 11 days, full on, full bore, no messing around. Because if you get in there and on day 4, you're like, oh, I feel pretty good because, you know, I just did 2 cleanse days, bam. And then you're on day 4 and you're like, oh, I can probably eat this. No, just stick to it. It's 11 days. It goes by like that. And then there you are. And you feel fantastic. And you're like, you're so happy with yourself that you just did it. And that's when you come alive. Like I came alive. I know you're going to ask me this. I might as well just tell you. I'll just take over this whole call. I came alive on day 3 or initially. And then every time I do a shred, I did 2 shreds back to back the first month in October. And I pretty much realized that this was going to help me reach my goal. And then I did every shred with the group. And I stayed true to the shake days. And I didn't deviate much at all. I did do some testing and found out some things that don't work well with me. But I didn't put one thing in my mouth that had sugar in it on purpose until my birthday. And I had a bite of cake, which I don't even like cake. But my nephew brought these little cakes and I was like, oh, I'll have a bite. And it was
I do it, Kathy. I do it. My daughter will be like, hey, daddy, look, I made bread. And I'm like, she's like, you don't eat bread though, huh, daddy? And I'm like, oh no, baby, I'll eat your bread. And then I walk over and I'm like,
I know. I was like, oh God. But anyway, and my nephew brought matcha.
Oh yeah.
Because I
matcha.
got back from Iowa and I call him my sweet little baby nephew, but he's like 40. And he brought my sisters and me matcha over, and he usually brings me sugar-free. Well, that place was closed and he brought this other one. And I could tell after the first sip that it wasn't the same. I said, is this different? And he said, yeah. And I said, does this have sugar in it? He goes, well, I don't know. So I drank it and got sick.
Oh, shoot. Yep.
But I knew first sip in, but I didn't want to say anything. And he's so sweet. So,
yeah. Well, I think aren't we going to how are we going to approach this, Kathy? I want to have you help everyone. How are we going to approach this when we cave?
Mhm.
I mean, when we cave, when we're human, when we do what we know we shouldn't, when we give in a little and then it's a lot, and then we go into denial or whatever it might be. I really want to start. You know what I want to do? I want everyone to just shatter their scales. Like, it sounds crazy, but it's like I want everyone to just take out like sledgehammers and smash their scales. And I just hope that everyone, all the women out there, I hope with all my heart, someone very dear to me reached out to me just this last week, and she was emotional. She was emotional, and she said, I don't know why I keep turning back to this stuff. And you know what? We determined through, some coaching, we determined that she's not eating enough of the right things. Have you been eating a lot, Kathy? Are you eating more than you would have prior to ER Shred? And has that served you?
Absolutely. We had a birthday dinner and my other nephew made roasted chicken and Polish sausage and a big, huge pan of scalloped potatoes. And so he said, Auntie Kathy, what do you want on your plate? And I said, chicken and sausage. So he served it. And I just kept standing there. And he said, do you want more? And I said, yeah, I do. I said, is there enough for everybody? And I realized that there was. And he put this big, huge honking dark meat on my plate. And he says, do you want white meat? And I said, yeah. Well, my other sister came in and snagged the white meat. So I was sitting there looking at this going, this is not enough food for me. And I snarfed the whole thing down like Mrs. Piglet had, because I was planning on this meal. And he goes, well, don't you want any potatoes? I said, I don't care for any, thanks. I didn't want any, so I didn't choose to eat it. I didn't want the cake, but I don't know why I did that, but I just felt compelled. But normally you can't make me put something in my mouth that I don't want in my mouth. The only thing I want in my mouth that I don't put there is my foot, and I do that a lot. But
Okay. But tell me what that empowerment, where's it coming from?
A place of well-being and passion for staying here. I mean, I just have this big, huge self-imposed, you've got this, and you're going to be here for the rest of your life. And I'm so motivated to stay here because I stayed there.
You're talking about yourself in third person, almost like the person before, like was not who you really, should have been. And
Right.
now you've realized yourself, you recognize yourself, and you're like, I'm not going to lose this person. I'm not going to lose me.
You always say, I'm never going back. Sometimes you slide back. I slid back and I got back on a different train. It's the same train, different conductor. That's how I look at it. I'm under the ER Shred umbrella now, which makes complete sense to me. It's so easy. I traveled. I didn't go off of it on the plane. It was easier. It's easier.
Right.
I come home and I ask Randy, what's for dinner? He says, well, I got some meat and there's some shrimp and some poke in there. And I'm like, okay. And I was excited because that's what we eat. And when people come over to our house for dinner, we tell them, we eat meat. If you want a side dish, bring it, whatever you want, but we'll provide the meat. And so one of our friends is selling their house and they have to come and stay with us because they're having an open house this weekend. And that's where we go every holiday. So they're coming over and he says, well, should I bring anything? And Randy said, whatever you want that isn't meat. It's like, it was the truth. We have the butter and we have the meat. We've got all the protein. And he says, well, I think you should make green bean casserole. And I said, I'll make it for you. I have all the stuff, but I don't eat it. So it's been so mind boggling, my energy level. And when I was in Iowa, I will tell you, this is very important. And I know I'm just kind of like leading my own conversation here, but my brother-in-law is 82. He takes care of my sister who has Lewy body dementia. He's 82. He has been on Isagenix since 2013 with me. True blue guy. So, but he just does it. He loves to take the cleanse and does it every day. So he brings out this plethora of vitamins that he was told by a chiropractor or somebody that would be good for him. So he said, if you're telling me that these Isoline Pro shakes have all the vitamins in it that I need and I don't need to take a supplement. And I said, I never said that. I said, you can choose to go through this and let's see what's in them. And line for line, we went through every line of what's in his vitamins, and one shake had twice as much as the daily dose of the vitamins that he was taking, paying $70 a bottle for.
Right.
And he was dumbfounded. I said, I'm not telling you to stop taking them, but wasn't this fun? He's like, yeah, so exciting. And he's like, oh my God, I had no idea. So that was news to me too. And these were high-end vitamins.
So
Now,
cool.
a couple of these things were specialty vitamins. And I said, you do what you feel is right. But it was wonderful to see him be passionate about learning.
Mm.
So then I, of course, you can't shut me up once you open that door. So we talked about it for 6 days, all of us. And it was wonderful. And we enjoyed the food he made. And he says, it's so nice to not have to make a side dish. I said, right?
Don't you almost feel like, do you feel like you're sharing more of an education than a product? That's what I feel like. I really like that.
Process. Yeah. And my sister, who just recently lost her husband of 57 years, this is my other sister. She's been in Isagenix too. So she's like, what is going on here? Because she was drinking the shakes with me and she was eating the meat with me. And I said, just eat what I eat. She said, okay. So she did. So like I was there 5 days. On the third day, normally we would have done a cleanse, but we didn't. So she says, I feel really good. I should be super duper tired. She's 80 years old. So I shared the shred with her, and she instantly wanted to bring in all of her kids who were having problems. And like I was mentioning I was on a call in a different group, and somebody came on and said they were using this Isagenix to gain weight. One of her kids needs that. So she got on a call with me. And that's never happened. She was so interested because she said, you're just like on fire. And then we would lay there on this hide-a-bed together, on this queen size hide-a-bed, and gab for 3 hours every night. And she says, in the morning, I should be tired. And I said, have a shake. Let's have a shake. Let's put some butter in our coffee. And she was amazed. And right in front of my eyes, I saw her get it.
Yeah, you lit her. You're lit, and you lit her candle. I love that.
So
Dang,
fun.
I love that.
Fun.
That's good stuff. Well, I actually took this in a way that wasn't intended, but it's just what was meant by fate to happen tonight. Is there anything else you wanted to say to shredders? In the way of an update or anything else, anything at all that you didn't cover?
Yeah, I want to tell you that what I have become passionate about that I didn't realize was missing from my life before ER Shred, and maybe this birthday I just had, was that my passion is living in the moment. Instead of thinking about the past and worrying about the future, I live in the moment. And I was on a book club call this morning, and a real short little quip that came from it was, this lady had this wonderful scrambled eggs served to her in a restaurant. And she thought, God, these are the best scrambled eggs I've ever had in my whole life. They're so fluffy and buttery. I wonder how they made these. I wonder how I can reproduce it. She said, I did a full stop and thought, who cares? I should just enjoy this right now and enjoy the eggs and think about that later. Or the lion that flew off a cliff chasing something, knew he was going to fall to his death, but saw a strawberry on the way down, plucked it, and enjoyed this strawberry, full well knowing the end was near, but he enjoyed his strawberry. So this spoke to me just in this little book club that I'm in with my brother, living in the moment and not dragging the past with you and not worrying about all of the different facets of the future. Just be present and focused, and listen when somebody's talking to you. Give them your full focus and attention, because that's what love is.
Beautiful, Kathy. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Anytime.
for all you contribute, which is, wow, you bring, we talk about a bonfire, everybody's throwing their logs, and I just picture Kathy, and Kathy's got a lot of logs to throw on the fire, and she's throwing them all up, and thank goodness for that, because you have been the biggest gift, to us. You've been an incredible gift to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Julie Robertson. Is it Julie Robertson? Is it also, I don't know how to say the Bliven?
Bliven.
Bliven. How are you,
Yes.
Julie?
I'm great. How are you, Sean?
Good. Thanks for
Good.
joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we've got to go through the questions. So who or where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kalispell, Montana.
Oh, Kalispell, Montana. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Who shared ER Shred with you?
Danelle Ball. She's here on the call tonight.
Oh, cool. Then I'm gonna reframe it. Who is the superhero who shared ER Shred with you? How's that?
Danelle is the superhero.
That's cool. Thank you. Thank you, Danelle. And what is your passion?
Well, I've got a lot of them, but the one I think I'd like to share is my profession. I'm a physical therapist and I've been a PT for 22 years. And I think it took me a long time to get there because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life when I was young. And I actually got a degree in political science and philosophy. And I got out and I'm like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I was also an aquatics instructor and kind of working at a health club, and that kind of led me towards physical therapy. And so I went back to school for a whole lot of years and became a PT. And then for the last 10 years, I've been teaching now. So I'm a professor in a physical therapist assistant program. So really, I love it. I absolutely love it. I get to share knowledge with my students, the passion with my students. I get to empower them to go out and help other people and get people back to their, living their best lives and getting back to where they want to be.
Awesome. I'm going to probably talk to you just a little bit about my experience with injury and recovery, but what was your ER Shred experience? Like, just whatever comes to mind, whatever you feel, felt, found, whatever whatever benefits you might have realized or how it might have impacted your life.
Yeah. So I had done Isagenix in the past, and I had success on it and really enjoyed it. And then over the past year, I myself have a long-term kind of knee injury. I do Taekwondo, and I had kind of destroyed my knee early on 17, 18 years ago. And it just, kind of got to that point where it got worse. So all of a sudden I couldn't do Taekwondo anymore last May. And I also, turned 50, and it's like all of a sudden, bam, perfect storm, gained weight. All of a sudden I wasn't doing what I like to do, wasn't feeling how I wanted to feel. And then kind of over the holidays was kind of the last straw. I went back to Wisconsin to my home and ate a lot of cheese and, drank a lot of beer and did all the bad things in Wisconsin that, it's kind of fun. But, and so
Indulgence.
The indulgence, that's right. And so I was, feeling bloated, feeling terrible. I have been on and off battling gallbladder problems for probably over 10 years. I had to have it removed, but I'd had a gallbladder attack about 10 years ago. Really, as long as I was eating pretty well, I did fine. And of course, after the holidays, it was flared up. So I was feeling pretty awful at the beginning of January. Danelle shared with me about the shred. And so I thought, okay, well, good timing. I'll look into it. So I didn't prepare the way I should have, like Kathy did. I did the opposite. I did the wrong thing. So don't do what I did. I kind of just jumped in and did it. I, read a little bit as I went along. I, for the most part, stuck to it and I did well with it. And I have to say, I thought, okay, I'm having this gallbladder flare up. The last thing you're supposed to do is eat fats.
Pretty counterintuitive, true.
Right. But I was finding that when I ate a lot of salads, that would kind of make it feel worse. It would flare it up a little bit. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'll try it. If it doesn't work, guess what? I don't have to do it anymore. So I thought, all right, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to go all in and do it. So after 2 days, before I even got to the cleanse, my gallbladder pain was gone, just eating fats. I ran out, I kind of binged on the guides as far as just what I needed to get started. I ran out and got the grass-fed butter. I got, the meat. I didn't get grass-fed right away, but then I did find it. And I felt so much better after 2 days. And then I did the cleanse, even better. I didn't have my big, come alive moment during the first shred, only because I also came down with bronchitis and ended up having to go on antibiotics. So I finished out the shred, but wasn't feeling awesome.
Thank you. No, thank you for that. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people don't actually, you know, some people it is the second, third shred, you know, there's no real, you know, we don't have to put a number on that, but all I'm saying is, thank you for mentioning that, because a lot of people, they have that expectation. We need to just remove those expectations.
Yeah. And so I thought, well, you know what? I want to do this again when I'm feeling better. So then, it was probably a few weeks, month later, I decided to do the shred again. And but I still had success. I mean, I lost 7 pounds, and you know, it worked. I just wasn't feeling great because of being on antibiotics and everything else. So then I got my husband to join me for the second shred. He had never done Isagenix, was totally reluctant. He has multiple food allergies and intolerances. He's allergic to dairy. He's, you know, a lot of other things. But he said, you know what, I need to try something too. A lot of, you know, inflammation, feeling awful, gut problems. And so I said, you need to try this with me. So he, like Kathy said, he completely tolerates the incubated shakes. He has absolutely no problems whatsoever. He can do the grass-fed butter. And he, I think, you know, he needs to do a little bit more testing out, but he did the shred with me. And so the second shred, I'll get back to him in a minute, but the second shred, I was probably, I don't know, not day 5, but day 6 is when all of a sudden just bam, switch just flipped. And so I woke up that morning and I was, you know, just kind of a little bit tired. And then all of a sudden I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have energy. And I'd slept so well, the best night of sleep I'd had in months and months and months. And I was going out to run some errands and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to try pulling on this pair of jeans that I haven't been able to button in months. And I pulled them on, I buttoned them, and I'm like, dang.
Dang, you're like, dang.
These are buttoning. My belly's flat, and oh my
I can
gosh,
see it in the, I can see it in the mirror.
Back
like,
again after I turned 50, but my belly looked 30, and I was like, wow. And so all the bloating had gone. And yeah, I just had so much energy. So kind of like I've heard people saying, you know, on posts on Facebook, I was cleaning everything and, you know, just going around like a tornado around my house that day. And so finished out the shred. My husband finished out the shred and he felt amazing. He thought he would never be able to give up Diet Orange Sunkissed was his thing. So he ended up using the hydrate and finding that really helped. We ended up getting him the orange hydrate too, because then he loves the orange flavor. And he lost 14 pounds and I couldn't get him to measure. He hasn't measured, but he did phenomenally and feels so much better and less bloating, less, you know, gas, less all that. And so I think what he really needed to do, even more so than I did, was, you know, really eliminate and find out what he could add back in. So the other thing I'll say, I will admit I did wrong. I knew I shouldn't have, but I got cocky and I was like, oh, well, I've never had food intolerances. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just eat when I'm done with my shred. And so I ate healthy. I made the last day after my second shred, I made, you know, this great piece of fish, and I love cooking. I love Asian food. I love Thai food. And so I got miso paste and I did this big soy thing and, you know, did the glaze and ate that. The next morning I woke up feeling like I had the worst hangover of my life. I didn't have any alcohol. I just had
no alcohol.
No alcohol.
It
was a soy hangover. I found out later.
Yep.
And so I thought, well, how did this happen? I don't have food allergies. I don't have food intolerances. And I think I had just cleared my system so well that I didn't realize how much I was affected. And so now since then, I kind of had that, you know,
pause,
so
please
processing,
pause
like,
right here,
oh,
right
wow.
here.
Oh, wow.
This moment right here where you say, I didn't realize how bad that stuff was making me feel. That's the truth. That's the truth. It is not true that you got so pure that you like damaged yourself and, you know, like you got so pure that now you like can't even eat any. That is bull crap. That is bull crap. You just gained the ability to feel and interpret and discern, right?
Absolutely. And so now you know, that kind of woke me up and I thought, okay, so I had probably a headache for 2 days after that. And so then I, you know, kind of went back to the, you know, the steak and shake, and I didn't do the shred, but I went back to the steak and shake and started, you know, kind of dialed it back and kind of said, okay, you know, I'm going to do better and I'm going to try try adding things in a little bit more slowly. So, so we're going to start. So my husband and I are going to start our third shred with the group next week. I'm excited. So now
Thank you for mentioning that. That is
I
summer.
learned
It starts
from my
April 4th.
mistakes.
April 4th, right?
April 4th. Yeah.
April 4th. It's summer bodies are made in the spring. Well, thanks for giving a shout out about the group shred. That's awesome, because I should have mentioned that.
Yeah. So I'm going to get my husband to do it again. So he's excited about it. We're getting ready for it. I'm going to read more of the guides. And like I said, you know, and I think that's what's so good about this process too, is it's not punishing. It's not punitive. You can forgive yourself when you screw up, because guess what? I can just go back on the shred again and I know it's going to work. And so, you know, we went on spring break last week, went on vacation, and I indulged a little bit, but I knew what I was doing and I was conscious about it and I was paying attention to how I felt. And I'm like, you know what? I had this and this and this, and I don't like the way I felt. And so it's more of that mindfulness. I read this article, I think a week ago, by a health coach. She'd been doing it for 20 years. And she said, you know, a lot of times my clients, what doesn't work is they get into this deprivation mindset. If I'm in this mindset where I have to deprive, I'm going to want it, and I'm going to give up, and I'm going to throw in the towel, and I'm going to punish myself when I make a mistake. And so I thought, well, that's what's so great about the shred, is that it empowers us to take the information we learn, to listen to our own bodies. I keep hearing that over and over. I hear Jesse on Facebook saying that, you know, listen to your body and find out what works for you. We can't tell you that this bite of food is going to be good or this bite of, you know, food is going to be bad for you. You have to listen to your bodies, become conscious of it, become aware, and choose what works for you. And so that way we're empowered to choose what we can do for ourselves and what we can tolerate and what we're willing to, you know, try. We're going to pay attention to how we feel, and maybe we're going to make those choices not to have that because we feel like crap. And so again, it's not someone saying you're terrible, you can't eat this, this is bad for you. You're figuring that out yourself. And so then when you want to have an indulgence, you're not going to punish yourself over it. You're going to say, okay, move on. I don't like how I feel. I'm going to go back and do what makes me feel good.
As a health professional, by the way, what you just said, God, you're genius. Thank you. You're brilliant. You're a health professional, and I invite you to continue to contribute. Please show up, because this is our tribe. We're all, you know, offering up our talents, our gifts. We're all the collective. We're all throwing our logs on the fire. I would love it if you would and continue to, because you're very with it. You get it, and it means a great deal. It actually means a lot. Real quick, what was it you thought about this when you first heard as a health professional? Were you like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah. Well, when I first, you know, started looking into join the Facebook group to kind of, you know, a few days before I started the shred to get some background information, it was when everyone was doing the butter challenge. And I'm like, these people are nuts. They're like taking these chunks of butter and they're eating them. And that's disgusting. And so I'm like, who are these people? Then I'm like, oh, these people are kind of weird, but I like it. And in a good way. So then I was like, yeah, but you know, I got it. And I was like, okay, I get what they're doing, you know, and I read a little bit more, you know, it's not keto, it's not, you know, paleo, it's something, you know, it's this unique blend. It's taking hopefully the best from everything. I listened to your video, and yeah, the butter shots, I heard that. And by the way, I thought I would never, ever, ever like butter coffee. And now I love butter coffee.
Love it. Yeah. You love it.
And mix it up, and I add a little bit of shake to it. But, and I have an awful sweet tooth, and I thought I would never give up my white chocolate mocha, and now I don't want it anymore.
How long has it been since you had that white chocolate mocha?
Well, I tried one again last week when I was on vacation, because I was, you know, vacation.
Indulging, yeah. This
is sweet and disgusting, and I can't wait to get back home to make my butter coffee. And so, yeah, I mean,
there's just a shift, right?
It was a shift. And again, it's a discovery I made and a choice I made for myself. And now I don't feel deprived for not having my white chocolate mocha. I feel like, yeah, I don't want it. I'm making a choice now.
I hope that women, especially on this call, are starting to understand, like, I hope everybody will just feed enough with the right things, so that you don't crave the bad. That's what happens, guys. If you feed enough of the right things, you won't be drawn to those wrong things. You've got to satiate. Everything you've said is so spot on. I really appreciate all of this. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we let you go?
Oh gosh. I can't think of anything.
No problem. No problem. Everything you shared was mass value. And the last thing I just wanted to say really quickly, as I let you go, is just that I personally had 3 year-long plus injuries, okay, that wouldn't heal. They wouldn't heal.
Mhm.
They wouldn't heal. I'm just telling you, I had a tear in my piriformis, I had a tear in my delt, and I also had a Baker's cyst in my left knee. And I'm not going to make any claims because I know better, but I want to say this. If your body is fighting the war of inflammation, I actually think that your body is preoccupied, it's distracted, it's spread too thin, and it has a hard time healing. That's my belief based on what I experienced personally, because when I got off all of the inflammatory inducing things, when I eliminated, everything changed for me. Everything changed for me, and I was back and whole and strong and stronger so fast that it was creepy, just creepy. The human body, as we always say, Jesse always says, it's just magic if you're giving it what it should get. It's magic. All right. Thank you so much, my friend. You're awesome. Guys, Julie's a health professional. I just got so excited about that endorsement. Thank you so much, Julie. Your endorsement means the world. We'll get you the check in the mail.
Well, you all talked me into it. I mean, just, with all the energy on the Facebook page and the board, and I'm like, okay, I think I can hang with these guys. And
No.
well, and I did. Oh, actually, I have one more thing I have to say. Sorry.
Sure.
I'm, being healthcare professional, healthcare professions, everything's evidence-based. You can't get from insurance companies unless you have evidence showing that it works. And, I saw a lot of anecdotal evidence. I talked, a lot of people posted about what was happening with their labs, because a lot of people, the whole, you're eating meat and butter and fat and salt, and that's bad for you. And so I ran some literature searches in the medical databases, and I haven't spent a lot of time reading it yet because I have my day job, but I did come across some, pretty good evidence and articles. So some of big meta-analysis, which is kind of the highest level of evidence, they take a bunch of studies and pool data. And there were articles out there comparing, kind of your traditional heart healthy diet with more of the, high fat, keto type, butter meat diet. And they're really, people their cholesterol did not go up. Their heart health did not get worse. And so, there's evidence out there showing that, this kind of way to eat is legitimate, and that it's, we have this ancient way of thinking with the old food pyramid with our carbs, and basically it was supporting this evidence that's, this is kind of old way of thinking, that we should be switching our thinking in the way that we eat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I dig it so much. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you, Julie. Everybody really appreciates, your perspective. So, thank you so much. Our last person of tonight is, unless we have this other person show up, I'll ask in a minute, but Casey Whitsitt, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Oh, thanks for being patient. I hope you enjoyed those testimonials.
Oh my gosh, those were just great. I love how on all of these calls, you can find something to relate to. Everybody tells their own personal story, but there's always just something that kind of like pops out at you and you're like, oh my gosh, me too. Or I can just empathize with that. And it's just, those ladies are amazing.
Yeah, no, the stories, they don't ever cease to amaze. Casey, where are you calling from?
Springfield, Oregon.
Springfield, Oregon. And who introduced you to ER Shred?
Well, it was a fate thing, for sure with me. I put myself in your group. uh,
You
before
are
this-
your own superhero.
yeah, and I just connected the dots with that because I wasn't feeling that, but when you guys were just so amazing and named me an ER Shred Heart, that gave me the confidence, and I believe it. I believe that I'm my own hero now, and you gave me my self-worth back. So I'm just so grateful for
gave
that.
you your self-worth back.
Well, you guys opened the door with the missing link for sure.
Isn't that cool? The tracks and the community, and then like all of a sudden you discover you, and you are pretty damn badass, right?
Yep, getting through some amazing things because I have the tracks to run on.
Love that. So
There's no falling off when you're on tracks. It's not like being in a wagon. Everyone's like, oh, I fell off the wagon, and you don't fall off the tracks. You're still on them, whether
they're right there, that the wagon
Yeah.
might have moved on, whatever, the tracks, they remain.
Yep.
That is so cool. I love that outlook. Casey, what's your passion?
My passion. Getting other people and myself just support and belief in whatever it is that our hearts desire. I just want everyone to live their best life, and if I can help in any way, I want to help contribute to that. But just for people to know that they're not alone, and that we're all struggling with something, but you don't have to be suffering through the struggle. So
We're all suffering with something, but you don't have to be suffering through the struggle.
like everybody struggles, and I mean, I do all the time, but we can suffer, we can survive, or we can start striving for something more.
Mhm. Beautiful. That's beautiful. So thank you for sharing your passion. And what is your, this is kind of an update for you. How long have you been with us?
I discovered you in August of 2021 and did my first shred in September. It was pretty close to when I got in the group, and you go through the guides and you just immerse yourself in the culture of ER Shred, and that's the people and their stories that they share. So yeah, that was my first shred back in September, and I mean, I had amazing physical results with that, and I don't know that I've done a perfect or an all the way shred since that one, but the mindset that it's given me and the tracks that I have keeps me going, and I feel like I keep coming alive more and more to myself all the time. So I don't have just like a one moment of
okay. So I
this was it for me.
gotta dig there, right there, that point right there. You feel like you're coming alive on an ongoing basis. What does that look like? What is making you think that? What is it that's happening that you go, oh my God, this is working still. This is working more.
Instead of being so like dysregulated and responsive to like the stressors and triggers around myself, I'm more open to receiving like what that's trying to teach me. And so like when I'm doing a shred, or I have like this shredder's mindset, like if I go into it, okay, I'm gonna do a perfect shred day, or a steak and shake day, or I'm gonna go into it with intention. It's almost like the weight and the bloat and all that stuff that I'm holding on to is just kind of released. Like just day one, like you just go into the day and you're like, I'm gonna do this, and it's that sense of relief, so that I feel more prepared to face whatever it is that I'm gonna go through.
Damn, that's good. That's good, huh, Jesse? That's good. That's good. Because that's like, if you could imagine that you're out and about, all the stresses of the world are just piling upon you, and you go to your safe place and all of a sudden, like, boom, the minute you get there, it all just dumps. So it's almost like coming home.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
started to get a little emotional a minute ago. What was that about? Is that okay if I ask?
Yeah, it's just, I'm just facing these things, and I'm feeling how I used to feel before the ER shred, and that was the overwhelm, and I think you just said it a minute ago, spread too thin.
Yeah.
And all of that. And like, I felt that recently again, but I'm making it through because of this, and because I know myself better.
You're
So,
capable. Yeah, you're capable. There's a lot of people clapping for you. I'm just going to change the view so you can see that, because that's fun. Casey, you're way badass. Casey, like, this is such a fate thing that you're talking about these things on here tonight. So cool. Casey, any other, like, what other, any other advice you would offer overall to shredders, since you've been doing this a while?
I think just to piggyback on what some of the other people have said and what you've said, with like the scale and all that, when I started, before I started ER shred, I was in like the 230s for myself, and ER shred helped me get down to like 185, which was really great for me, and over the course of a few months and things like that. And I would say, I'm going to be honest, and the scale's back up a bit, but this time it doesn't throw me off.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know that the ER shred works, and all I have to do is do an 11-day and hop in, and it's like golden while I'm like working through all these things. So it's just, don't beat yourself up, and give yourself grace throughout the whole thing.
Do you,
And trust
do
the
you still
process.
feel, oh, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just, trust the process and the
Trust the
protocol,
process.
because that's where the magic is.
Do you feel almost like if you like gain weight back, for instance, do you feel like you're no longer like an ER shredder? Is that how you kind of feel? Is that what the guilt thing is about?
I've felt like kind of like that imposter syndrome, where like, oh, I can't be sharing the shred, or I can't be putting myself out there because I'm not the perfect role model. But that's that old self-defeating beliefs that I used to have.
Totally. It totally is. And if truthfully, if you never set foot on a scale, and you really did just, live the lifestyle to the best of your ability, there is no requirement to do group shreds every single month with the group. There is no requirement to ever do reset days. If you don't want to ever do them, don't have to do them. There's no requirement in terms of having 1 shake a day or 2 shakes a day. Guys, like, it's pretty damn open-ended for a reason. We are not going to do that to people, because that will cause the shame. That will cause the guilt, right? So Casey, you're always an ER shredder. Yo, you're always an ER shredder. I hope you know that. Always. Well, Casey, we love you so much, and we appreciate you. I'm going to let our nutrition ambassador around ER shred comment on all these results now. And thank you so much, Casey. And you are awesome. You are powerful, and mad respect to you. Jesse, I feel emotional. I feel a mix of emotions and joy. It's really an interesting vibe I have going on right now. I feel really emotional based on the 3 testimonials that were shared, and yet I also feel so happy. How you doing, Jesse?
I feel the same way, Sean. It is crazy, right? When you think about it, it's the emotion obviously is knowing you as, for so long, and us having very deep conversation together and opening up about so much of life. Like, we just genuinely care about other people feeling awesome every day. And when you can help others do that, I don't know. I've always been called to in my life too. I've shared that with you, and it's just such a cool thing. For me, it almost heals something from my past childhood of like growing up the fat kid and getting bullied and abused and not feeling wanted and never feeling accepted. And I've done a lot of deep work on this stuff, obviously, to connect these dots. And that sense of just giving back when I kind of felt never in before, I think is that magical piece that brings that joy to me. So I feel that emotion, because I've also known what it felt like to not care about life and think I didn't care about life. I thought I didn't care about life, right? Like I had a lot of stuff in the way, and it's crazy, Sean. I want to share with people, it's funny, like I post these videos and I'll do these workouts and all this, but I just got to be really transparent with people. My life is a shit show right now. I just want everybody to know that it's a shit show. And I've been doing this for over 20 years. If anybody's had one of those, like these little things called little humans come into your life, like little dude just slept for the first time ever from 8 o'clock to 4:20 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You love, Jesse, we say we love the little bastards.
We love the little bastards. You know what I mean? So that's that, right? Then I decided to take on, let's go get nationally board certified. Oh my God. Like that I realized what was coming. Like, holy shit, right? But I'm so excited because the overwhelm is I can't wait to share all this with you guys. I'm listening to all this stuff and I'm like, oh my God, I can share this. Like, it's just more tools, but I took that. And then it's running business with my dad. I run a wallpaper and window blind business. And I mean, we're booked till almost the end of June right now. Like it's nonstop every single day. And then, nobody prepares you for this fourth trimester shit, right? And it's just a mental, psychological, emotional breakdown. It makes your relationship hard. The feelings are crazy to get back. So, I'm sharing this in full transparency, not because I don't feel not strong. I hope you understand that. Like, this is me just sharing with some of you that are like, that might need a little bit of like, everybody has a story. And I need you to know that everything is not what we see on the square world. Everything is not one post. Everything is not that, and I share that because a lot of people, I felt a lot of people get stuck because of past trauma, and we get stuck in this repetitive thing, and there's actually stages of change. So, I want to release some people and say, listen, give yourself the permission to be okay and smash it for a couple months and go into a spiral and know that, like a lot of you have said, like you have a place to come. That's okay. That's actually part of change. It's actually 6 months in this world of transforming your life to create that full-blown lifestyle change to where it just becomes kind of second nature, And so that's that, Sean. I don't want to keep everybody so long. I have so many thoughts in my brain, but there is no perfect. I wrote down. I heard that a lot. A lot of you guys, what are you criticizing yourself from? Don't answer that now, but ask yourself this question, please. Like, what fear? Do the deep work. Don't be scared of diving backwards into that. There's got to be something from the past that you're attaching this fear. Like, who are you failing? Who are you failing? This is your life. You're not failing anybody. Just because there's ups and downs and lefts and rights. So, learning to connect that emotion will be able to get you to go and break free. I think you were talking about that in the beginning with, with Kathy, right? Where it was that. And some people are going to do really well in the past, and then they have things happen. I call that, oh shit, welcome to life. Guys, don't make it more than it is. One of the things that I've really learned getting older is I used to stress out about shit that I had no control over. And let me tell you, stress is not good for your health. If you're looking to be metabolically healthy, which is what my goal is in life, okay, stress is not your friend. Now, it's inevitable. So why do we want to be healthy? Why do we make the right choices? Not to fit into the cool kid club, to handle life. I'm so mellow because of everything I've been willing to do, and everybody called me crazy. My life is not stress-free right now, but I can handle the pressure. I can deal with the stuff. And that doesn't mean it's easy, but it's the balance, right? And that's controlling inflammation, that's controlling stuff. And yes, nutrition plays such a big role, but our community is one of our best gifts. Our community is one of our best gifts. I mean, hands down, the community is one of the best gifts. I can show you published research that's been shown, centurions around the world, the highest groupings. It's not nutrition. It's not because they don't drink. It's not because they don't just, eat. Yes, that's part of it. But the number one thing is sense of being, is sense of worth, is sense of life, is sense of purpose. And I hope that this community can bring that to people that feel lost. Because I know it sure has for me, and I know it has for you, Sean. And it's been such a beautiful thing. It's like it puts silly putty on the open hole. You know what I mean? And it just fills it in nice. And it can stretch and it can mold and it can contour and it can move into all different shapes when you need it to. That's our living, breathing tribe. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Welcome people to that. Don't welcome them to an 11-day protocol, so to speak. That's just a piece of the much, much, much bigger puzzle, and grasp onto that, the last thing I want to just leave everybody with, Sean, because I haven't had a ton of time to get in our group and stuff. So please, bear with me for 1 second. I'll keep it super quick. I want to share what my ultimate goal is for wanting to eat like this, continue on, and why I don't choose to. It's not that I can't do things. I'm going to brag for a second. I'm 42 years old. My resting glucose and insulin is at a 5, where the national average is 7. That's if you're that, you're considered metabolically really flexible and healthy. That I don't know. My body percent fat is just so low. I don't measure this shit. I don't get on the scale. Like, I can just tell because every vein in my body is ripping out, and you don't get that with body fat. You know what I mean? Like, my clothes always fit good. I feel amazing. I wake up refreshed. And there's a lot of other things besides the nutrition that I want to share with people too, that you can start incorporating into life and realize that it's, this is the building block and it's that. But, strive for this if you strive for anything. There is no such thing as perfection. And if you're chasing that, good luck. I can't help you. It doesn't exist. Strive for what's perfect for you. Strive for what's perfect for Sean Escobar's life and body, and that is the perfect answer. Strive for what's best for Julie Robertson, and that's the best answer. And Kathy and Casey and Melanie and Danielle, strive for what's best. That's why there's no right and wrong answers to this. That's why there's no right and wrong foods. We have this brand new research coming out with continuous glucose monitoring, which only be used for diabetics, and now it's a big deal. Why? Because research is so amazing around it that the name of the game is controlling your blood sugar. You want ultimate health, control your blood sugar. But here's the scary part, Sean. You could eat an apple and your glucose could spike to 120. Very dangerous. I could eat an apple and my glucose could be 67. Not a big deal whatsoever. Same apple, same organicness, same fiber, same supposedly healthiness, but what's the main difference? The main difference is your body and my body, right? Now, we know that as humans, we need the fundamental basics. We need the vitamins, the minerals, the nutrients, the trace minerals. Our cells crave it. Our mitochondria don't want to be, that's our energy factories inside of our cells. We have billions and billions of them. They don't want to be overloaded with sugar. They actually stop working right? So they want ketones. They want fat adapted, if you will. That's the primary way. But the real goal, the ultimate goal, is I hope that you guys all find this thing called metabolic flexibility. And the only way to get that through that is time. Takes time to get there, okay? Takes time to transition your body. Some of you will feel amazing with 11 days. You will not be fully fat adapted. It does not work that way. It just does not work that way, okay? But you will be well on your way. You will experience the euphoria that ketones produce inside your brain. Again, this is not going into ketosis. This is just a process. This is where it's funny, Sean. Your body, when it breaks down fat and utilizes it as energy, the byproduct is ketones. So then your body utilizes that as its energy source versus the glucose. Okay, so I think we get really confused because keto got thrown out there and it's so media hyped and shit like that. But you don't need to be in hardcore ketosis, like 50 grams of carbs or less a day, which is like not sustainable for majority of people, where this is so sustainable. That's why this works. Do you guys understand? This has all your dots covered. It has all your vitamins and minerals. Like, we know you're not all going to eat beef liver, so you need your shakes for your vitamins and your minerals, and we know that they're amazing. Like, that's where we say where all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. You're covered on all those aspects. We know that your body's going to be dying for electrolytes. Hello, hydrate, right? So just strive for what makes you feel best is what I really want to try to leave everybody with. That's the magic answer. And, you know, after you're done with 11 days, can you do more? Yeah, it just depends on where you're at. You know, if you're really overweight and you need to lose it and you need to control your blood sugars and get stuff back into check, I'd recommend that you go pretty hardcore for a while, right? Because you need that and you deserve it. But if you're an athlete and you're coming in and you had a few pounds of weight and you felt sluggish and you cleaned yourself out and you want to bring back stuff in like Japanese sweet potatoes, and you want to see if that's a good fit for you, and you learn the timing of the day to eat it, like, yes, that is the perfect answer. And yes, that fits into the damn ER shred. Do you understand? The ER shred is not just about taking it out. You can eat all the vegetables you want later. I'm eating purple cauliflower and asparagus, and broccoli's no bueno, not my friend, but I can eat broccoli sprouts. And you know how much research is behind that, and literally stopping cancer and stopping the cause and the pathways to everything, ridiculous amounts. And the sprouts are very different than the actual floret. So there you go. I did an experiment, and there's a perfect example. So I'm sharing this all because I want you to see that type of life, right? Like the life where you can wake up and then you can, once you get that in check, well, you're like, wow, I wonder if I can actually do this thing called meditation. And then you give yourself 2 minutes a day and you realize, wow, that adds another layer. And then you hear about this thing called hot cold therapy, and you start giving yourself ice cold showers, and you've never felt better in your life. And then you add that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm showing the bigger picture, Sean, because I hope people focus on that versus the, oh, I made a mistake. You didn't make a damn mistake. You know how many mistakes I've made over 20 years? I can't, like, I'm ashamed to even admit, right? Like, come on, like, come on, you have a chance every day. So just, overall balance is really the main thing. And there's nothing that's off limits, but use your best judgment. Just realize that every bite of food you take instantly gets to send signals to your body. And we now know that through research, through brand new research that's just recently been published, our gut literally sends text messages to our cells billions of times a day, billions and billions and billions of times. So I just ask you this simple question that can hopefully be so impactful for you as you go about daily life. Ask yourself before you decide to, I hate the word indulge, I hate the word treat, I hate that we put these definitions around food. My daughter made me cringe, my 12-year-old. She said, yeah, on a special occasion, my birthday, I had Coke. I said, what? To me, that's not special occasion, right? Because to me, I know it's poison. But just ask yourself this. With what I eat, am I sending the text messages? Am I sending the code to my motherboard, my body? Am I sending the code of disease and death? Or am I sending the code of repair and life and rejuvenation? And we can do that through the molecules of food. That's the bigger picture, right? So you can use that question if you get stumped and you go to get tricked and you go, do I really need that? Just take that pause and ask yourself. And if you want it, you know what I'm going to say, Sean, right? If you want that slice of cake, if you want that chocolate chip cookie, what do?
Have it.
You eat that damn shit. You eat it. You eat it. You eat it. You smother it all over your face like a 5-year-old's just learning how to eat. A 5-month-old, I mean, right? And you smother it because why? Because you can. Because if you're doing everything else,
I got to stop you real quick. You and I are going to just jive right here.
Okay, go for it.
Because we do need to help our shredders, and we need to make sure.
I was gonna end it, but if you want to go.
Well, we need to make sure we make this clear. So
okay.
Because what I hear you saying is almost contradictory.
Okay.
And I want you to delve into it a little bit, because you see, when you tell people I hate the word cheat, I get that. You also said I hate the word indulge. We might have a little disagreement there because you gotta frame it in some way. Jesse, if we approach this as, okay, I can eat this over here, I can do this, or I can do this. And if I do this, it's my cells are happy and I'm doing the right thing by my, by me, but if I do this, that's shit. And then we got to say, and I choose the shit and I smother the shit all over my face. It's like, it creates a lot of guilt. It really does, because it's basically like saying, better. So I actually like the word indulge because I know human nature. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know human nature. I know people are going to drink their alcohol, even though they know how toxic that shit is, right? And how do we make sure that they feel okay about that's human, because that's where I just want to make sure we're not so self-righteous that it's like, someone says in the group, can I eat this? And we're like, you could eat that, but why wouldn't you eat this instead? Now we have put a charge on it. You see what I'm saying? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's like you can sin.
I
You
get
can
what you're
sin
saying.
if you want. You can totally sin. Go ahead. Yeah, sin. Choose sin. But I'm just telling you that you probably should do the right thing over here.
So here's why. I mean, for me, when I just see, coaching people and diving deeper in health coaching and stuff, Sean, people tie words and they tie feelings to the actions that they do today. Right. So those words can be triggers. And there's a lot of triggers. And this is a lot from past trauma. And this is things. Me personally, for me in my life, let me state it that way. I personally don't like to put words around food just because, again, I grew up a fat kid, right? I grew up like not feeling stuff. Like this is for me. So for me, I'm just simply saying like, I'm at a point where I've done the work and I'm saying, don't go just pound cake. I think I believe in people, okay? Like, I think we really know what we really want and what we don't, right? Like, nobody wants to wake up and feel miserable every day, but why are we still pounding all this stuff? Well, there's a past connection to that. It's not just because we're doing it. Like, there's blood sugar levels and all kinds of stuff, which you don't have to dive into, but there's also something else that's driving that. Maybe it was as a kid, they weren't allowed to leave the table until they clean their plate. And that fear of, not doing something is making them overeat today because, gosh, we can't waste food. So for me, I just don't like putting those things. Like, I just want to ask people, like, why are we feeling that? What's the trigger for that? So I just don't like the indulge, but I'm not stating in any way where it's like, you have to like, you just gotta, I mean, I think we all know that if we eat an apple, it's sending different code than if we're eating chocolate double chip cake, right?
Did you change your view on this? Because you used to say that we don't cheat, but we do indulge. You used to say that.
No, it's not necessarily changing. I just don't want to put words. So you can use indulge. If that's a word that doesn't trigger you and it makes you feel happy, again, this is a perfect example of what I'm trying to share. This is what I feel, and this is what somebody else can feel. It's not a change in anything, Sean. It's just what triggers you, what makes you, and it's how do we talk to so many people? We give them all the different options, right? So yeah, maybe, I don't mean the indulge is a bad thing. I didn't change my thing. Like that's why I said, if you want a cookie, if you see the cake, by all means, go ahead and eat it. Like, stop putting that pressure on if majority of the time you're creating the balance of putting in the right text messages, putting in the right code. It's not necessarily a cheat. It's not an indulgence. It's just something that you wanted to do, is I guess my whole thing of the
reason indulge works for me, and I'm not trying to like drag this out or argue with you. It's just that the reason that indulge works for me is because if you were to ask the average individual, hey, Mary, if you want the cookie, have the cookie, then she's good. She's going to say, okay, good. I want 10 of them a day, every day. Thank you. Like, that's the reality. Is for most people, like I mean, I don't know, Jesse, I think that you can get to a point where you almost forget, like your willpower, for instance, maybe my willpower, discipline. I mean, you can get to a point where you almost become a little bit, insensitive or intolerant to people that make choices that they know ultimately are not going to serve them. And that's why I'm just saying, like, is it better for the individual to have this picture of, if I eat the cookie, it's toxifying me, it's sending me all this, negative cellular communication. It's, and all this ruin, all the ruin. Or, we can just say, hey, you know what? It's an indulgence. Keep it minimal, control it. Have your little indulgence, be human. That's human. It's probably a bad way to put it, because is it human, right? Like animals don't do this, right? Like, I know there's a deeper level here, but we got to meet people somewhere is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing. If it came off as what, I think you know me well enough, like I'm never, for me, I don't have the right answer for people, and I think, at the same time, Sean, I also know that we can't, if people want to do certain things, they have to do certain things, you know what I mean? So, just coming from the stemming of what I'm learning from, that type of science, like meeting people where they're at, like we have the protocol, people know the results, they can see the results, they do the results. For me, I'm trying to give more long-term big picture too at the same time. You know what I mean? Of ultimately, like, where are we trying to shoot for? I believe if people do it, they'll realize this, they'll come to it. And it's like, you won't walk by the cookie counter anymore and go, oh, that's, you're not tempted by it anymore. You're not, and honestly, when you eat it, which I still do, you tend to get disappointed. You're like,
That's
damn,
true.
I thought that was going to taste
true.
so much better. It's not so much of an indulgence anymore because the granules of sugar are like cracking in between my teeth. And like, I feel like my cavity's going to pop up again. You know what I mean?
The awareness becomes pretty high.
So I guess, my bad for, I hope, let's clarify.
No, because Jesse, listen,
like,
you said to people so often, stop saying cheat.
Yeah,
Stop
I hate that.
saying cheat. But then
Well,
you would say, if you're going to do it, and for me, the, terminology, it's, it's a little bit, it's like I could interpret the word indulgence different than another person. And that's what you're pointing out. But for me, indulgence is just like, you know what? I'm going to have a glass of wine, or I'm going to have,
that.
you see what I'm saying?
So
it's a total, it's just an indulgence. And you know what? I don't have to justify it. I don't have to say, well, it's okay because tomorrow I'm going to run 10 miles or I'm going to do a shred next week. So,
Yeah. You know what? Now that we talked about this, maybe indulgence was misspeaking. I think what I personally hate is where we have to put this celebration around everything. You know what I mean? I think that's where I got triggered on that, to be honest with you. It just kind of starts driving me nuts, especially when my 12-year-old was like, oh, I celebrated by having a Coke. I'm like, well, that's not a celebration, you know what I mean? And I know that this happens to a lot of people. So when we put these words to connect, dude,
I feel you. Like my daughter's 10, and every time she gets together with her friends over at her house, she's like, Daddy, can you take us over to Dutchman's, which is the gas station?
Right.
And what is it? It's to get like pop and chips and a candy. And I'm just always like, because like that, like I'm trying to teach her without shaming her, because I shamed my oldest daughter, bro. I didn't mean to, but I did. And it had a negative effect on her. You know what I mean? I shamed her just by me being me and just being in my own space, not realizing that she's watching me. She's watching me. And so I'm pretty sensitive on the topic, but I wish, like, I just tell her, like, can we not do something different? Like, can't we all go to the dog park? Can't we all go have a, this or that, or build a fort? Why does it always have to be the gas station event where we go and feed that? Because really, if we do go feed that, I mean, there's a reason these companies are so big and powerful. There's a reason we're contributing to it. We all are.
We don't have time for that on this call, Rich. To be honest with you,
I got mad respect for you, Jesse. Let me have you send us off with what were you feeling when that health professional Julie was sharing her stuff? How did that make you feel?
Well, I always get excited when health professionals do, because I realize the way that, Western world is taught, whether it's a nurse or a doctor or a PT, like, there's Krebs cycle is laughed at. It should be the most valuable thing, and nutrition should be the most valuable thing. And even in the world of PT, I mean, think about it, like every root cause is inflammation, like, and your story, like I shared with you, my I can't say that the shred did it, but my magical knee pain that I thought was from lifting and my core, which I worked on forever, was it's gone. And then my lingering elbow kink and that I thought was from too much bench pressing, it's magically gone. And mind you, I wasn't unhealthy. Like I was still ripped.
You were kicking ass better than 98% of the people out there already.
So it's very bizarre. So I love seeing that because, here's what I really love, Julie, I'll tell you, I appreciate the fact that you're an open-minded health professional. One of the things that scares me so much, Sean, when you go to medical school, 50% of what you learned 5 years later will be outdated, proved wrong by new research, or just not true. And the people that I feel the worst for are the ones that are patients of doctors who have the doctor ego that aren't willing to be open-minded to learning. This is why I love functional medicine practitioners so much, because they were all trained that way and realized for themselves, like, dude, this is not working. And examined and took this pathway and challenged the so-called unchallengeable research, which is what medical school research is. So kudos to you, Julie, for doing that. But I always love hearing that. Just hearing her results are just awesome, because it's you think health professional, everybody's like, oh, they got it going on. Well, I don't know. Go walk around the hospital, go walk around your doctor's office and let me know if they got it going on. There's a broken system going on there. So listen, I just want to tell everybody, keep up the good work. Sorry for the confusion. Clearly, I'm so passionate
Jesse,
about
there
this
is
thing,
there is no confusion. Jesse, there is no confusion. And guess what? You and I, this is all meant to be. This is all fate, because this is the very thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the call that's critically important, is that, and you said it, it's like my normal, it's not necessarily anybody else's normal. My goals are my goals. My image is my image. Like, we got to get to a place where it's all just totally, completely open-ended. And I think that's where we're going. And so I didn't mean to beat you up over it. It's just that, it's just that I learned from you that indulgence is the way to frame it. And it's really been a benefit to me. And so I was almost like, oh, dude, don't take that away from me, because I'm human. Like, I'm human, and
He's like, damn, Jesse, damn, he's putting another layer on me. Sean just hates me because every time he calls, we add new blocks to his chair. That's what it is. No, I listen, you know me, I always welcome, thoughtful conversation. There's no, I don't take things this is not personal. This is not, for me, the ultimate goal is, I love the discussion, because some people, they might feel that way as me. Some people might feel the way as you. And if we don't discuss it and we don't talk about it, how would anybody know? And I'll leave this charge, I'm sharing with you all this stuff, literally, Sean, 5 hours a day, 6 days a week, pounding information in my ear, new research, new stuff. How do we balance, the ultimate goal? What am I learning from all these functional medicine practitioners? And what am I learning from these ridiculously smart scientists? And then we can put it into lay terms. Like, I want to share with people, that's what I have in store to bring for value for us, for our group. Give me 4 more weeks to finish the online live version where I got to show my face for an hour and a half and be in that until I can go on my own. And that's the next level, right? So as we continue building, we have obviously Lenny with the Shredders, with the Shredders Way, which is just unbelievable. I'm playing in that, but I can't fully go. So I can't wait to do that and get in that, and then put all this stuff together and share with people. But just know, you got the right tracks to run on. We're going to leave with that same message. Like, these are, without a shadow of a doubt in my brain, out of everything that I'm learning, these are the right tracks to run on. Stick within those lines and find you, because that's what's most beautiful, is once you find the inner you, nothing else gets in the way. Nothing else gets in the way, because you're doing it for the intrinsic reason versus the extrinsic reason, right? We're doing it because, why do I do this? People look at me crazy. I go, I could care less. Like, my goal is to live to 110 to 115 years old, because I know that I have the power to reverse not my age in years, but the age inside my body. And I can literally decrease that age by 20, 30 years based off of the lifestyle that I choose to live. That's what leads every choice that I make.
Dude, that excites me too.
At the end of the day. And it's not like I want to live to 110, Sean. I want to come boating with you still. I want to climb a mountain. I want to be able to tie my own shoes. I want to be able to go to the bathroom by myself. That is the only way that I want to live to 110, because the normal way of getting old, I'm not checking that box. I don't want that. Like, look around, it's not for me. And that's the drive.
Love it. Love it. All right, you guys. Well, sorry we went over tonight. Jesse, thank you so much for the send off. I agree. I want to be well. I'm with you, brother. Guys, we'll see you in the group. Keep showing up. And for any of you who would like to share your testimonial on this call, just private message me and let me know that you'd be willing. And I'll just plan on you. We'll send you the general guidelines. It's really not complicated, but you too can pass the rite of passage like our ER Shred Warriors did tonight, and you'll help a lot of people by doing so. We love you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.